MPLS TE reoptimization. In this video, I'm going to talk about the reoptimization feature of the MPLS TE, and also we will learn about the concept of reoptimization and finally how we can configure or tune the reoptimization. The first question is that what is the reoptimization? The reoptimization is the process that the TE can use this to find the best path or the more optimized path. Let me to give you one example. For example, in this scenario, as you can see, we have two paths from the router 1 to router 5. The first pass is R1 to R2 to R5, and then the second pass is the R1, R3, R4, and R5. Let me to write here. This is the first pass from the R1, okay, to the router 2, and then, for example, to the router 5. And after that, we have another pass from the, for example, router 3, then router 4, and then router 5, okay? Assume that the link between router 2 and router 5 now is failed. And this means that we don't have the top pass. Okay, you are configuring a tunnel in the router 1, for example, tunnel 0. And because we don't have the top pass, okay, or the pass from the router 2, now this tunnel can, for example, uses the bottom pass, R1, R3, R4, and R5. Because of that, now we are sending the traffic of this tunnel from the router 1 to the router 3, and then router 4, and then router 5, okay? Assume that the bandwidth of all of the links here are same. After some second or some minutes, the link between R2 and R5 now is available again. This means that the failed link is corrected, and now we have this link. And now the question is that how much time take that the R1 understand that we have a better pass, okay? And after that uses this link, this pass for the tunnel 0. This is the reoptimization process, okay? This means that how much time takes that we can reoptimize the path in the, for example, traffic engineering. Also, here we have some detail about this feature. I will talk about that, but for now, let me to review the reoptimization. A T tunnel can end up on a path through the network that is no longer the best or optimal path for it, okay? This can happen if a link that was previously down becomes available again, or if a link did not have sufficient unreserved bandwidth at the time the tunnel was signaled, but now the bandwidth reservation on the link has gone down sufficiently for the T tunnel to be routed across that link, okay? Reoptimization causes a tunnel to be rerouted in the network onto the more optimal path. To understand reoptimization, we need to know that 3 triggers can cause reoptimization of the TE tunnel so that it can be rerouted to the better path. Let me to talk about these 3 triggers methods. These 3 triggers are periodic reoptimization, event-driven reoptimization, and manual reoptimization. Let me to write here. Look at here. As I mentioned before, we have 3 types of reoptimization. The first is the periodic reoptimization. I will talk about the detail of the periodic reoptimization, and but let me to say that by default this periodic reoptimization take about 1 hour. And also we have another type of reoptimization, the event driven. I will talk about the event driven reoptimization, okay? And after that we have another type of reoptimization. We call it manual, okay? You saw the manual reoptimization in this course. Let me to remember you. As you remember, sometimes I use this command MPLS on the privilege mode, MPLS traffic ENG, then reoptimize. Okay, maybe you remember that I used this command when I needed to, for example, using the new path in our tunnel. And after that, if you want, you can use the tunnel number. It's optional. Tunnel, then number of the tunnel, for example. That's it. Okay, these are the three methods that we can use in the reoptimization. Before starting to talk about the reoptimization, let me to, for example, giving one important notification to you. Look at here. You know that when we are configuring a tunnel, for example, router config, then interface tunnel number, okay, we need to configure the commands of a tunnel. I'm not going to talk about all of them now. You know that I'm going to talk about only one of them. You know that we can configure two types of the pass option. The command is tunnel, for example, MPLS, then traffic ENG, after that pass option, then a number, okay? We can use explicit, okay, method. And also we have the other type, the for example, dynamic method. You learn about these two methods, and I configured some scenarios about these two methods. Okay, the things that is important for us in this scenario is that when we are using the explicit method about the tunnel interface, we don't have periodic, for example, reoptimization, because, and also other type of reoptimization, event driven, for example. Why? Because we use the explicit pass, and this means that we need to only pass from a specific pass, okay? And because of that, we don't have reoptimization. Reoptimization only is occurring for the dynamic pass option. It's so important that to remember that the reoptimization is a feature for dynamic tunnels, not explicit tunnels. Okay, after that we can start to talking about the reoptimization. The first type of reoptimization is the periodic reoptimization. What is the periodic reoptimization? The periodic reoptimization means by default every 1 hour the TE should find the best pass for a tunnel. And this means that if you have a change in the pass, after 1 hour, by default you can change this value. The TE should find the new best pass, for example. In Cisco iOS, the reoptimization of a TE tunnel, the periodic reoptimization occurs with a frequency of 1 hour by default. We can change it. How we can change it? Let me to write here about the periodic. You will see these commands in this video, but let me to write it here. On the global configuration, on the router config, okay, we can configure this command MPLS, okay, then traffic ENG. Look at here, I configured here MPLS traffic engineering reoptimize, okay, and after that we need to configure the frequency with the timers, and after that frequency, and then for example interval. That's it. We can configure MPLS traffic engineering reoptimize timers, frequency, and then interval to changing the default value of the periodic reoptimization from 1 hour to another value. I will configure the periodic reoptimization. In this scenario, let me to talk about the event driven. Event driven means the tunnel now is, for example, traversing from the router 1 to router 3 to router 4 and router 5, and then link between the router 5 means the pass of the tunnel 0 now, for example, is failing. This means that the link that we are using it now is failed, and because of that, because the RSVP should tear down the pass, we need to find the pass exactly now, okay? And we don't need to wait, for example, for the next periodic, for example, reoptimization. I will show you, but the event driven only should occur when one of the links in the pass is failed, okay? And because of that, we don't have any, for example, way to using this pass. We need to reoptimize. We need to find the next pass exactly now. But don't forget, if in the another pass, for example, in the between the router 1 to router 2 and then router 5, we have a change, okay, the reoptimization should occur after 1 periodic interval, okay? And I will show you this event driven in this scenario. And also we have another type of reoptimization, and this is the manual. You can configure, you can use the MPLS traffic engineering reoptimize for manual reoptimization. And you know that when you are using this type of reoptimization, the reoptimization is occurring now for the dynamic tunnel. Let me to configuring this scenario. After that we can implement all of this type of the reoptimization. This is the scenario we configured exactly same in the previous videos. Because of that I'm going only to review the